Meet Berries, the AI-powered scribe that writes your therapy notes for you. Secure and private with no recording stored and EMR ready with one click. Join over 8,000 clinicians, saving time and staying present in sessions. And right now, save $50 off your first month with code TherapyShow50. Berries, so you can focus on care, not notes.
Welcome to the Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard, where continuing education meets convenience. Lisa brings therapists practical conversations with expert guests who share tools, techniques, and insights to enrich your practice. Whether you're on a walk, commuting, or cooking dinner, you can earn continuing education contact hours and stay inspired without sitting through endless recorded trainings. Visit lisamustard.com to join the CE membership and keep your professional growth as seamless as your favorite podcast. I want to share a new promotion that I'm really excited about, especially if you've been considering Barry's AI but haven't signed up quite just yet. For a limited time, new customers who purchase the Barry's annual subscription plan through my referral link will receive free access to my CE Podcourse bundle. That bundle includes over 30 hours of continuing education contact hours with new pod courses added throughout the year. And if you're not familiar with pod courses, they're a podcast and an audio course in one. You can listen on a walk, in between sessions, or wherever it fits into your busy schedule. And then when you're ready, you log in, complete a short self-study quiz, and download your certificate of completion. So here's how to receive the CE Pod Course bundle. First, purchase the Barry's annual subscription plan using my referral link, which is in the show notes. Then you're going to email us, support@lisamustard.com, with the subject line Barry's CE bundle, and include the email address you used to sign up for the Barry's annual plan. Then within 24 to 48 hours, you'll receive access to the CE Pod Course bundle. If you didn't catch that, just go look at the show notes. All the details are there. And just to be clear, this offer is available only to new Barry's annual subscription customers. The CE Pod Course bundle is offered through my company, Mustard Consulting LLC, an NBCC ACEP provider. As always, please be sure your state licensing board accepts NBCC CE contact hours. Once again, you'll find all the details and the referral link in the show notes. All right, let's get into today's episode. If you listened to the last episode about creating income by teaching without becoming an influencer and thought, yeah, that's awesome, but when would I actually find the time to do this? Then today's episode is for you, because the most common barriers therapists name when they start thinking about creating continuing education isn't a lack of ideas, and it's not uncertainty about ethics, it's actually time. So today I want to talk honestly about time management for creating continuing education, not in a productivity hack way, but in a way that actually fits therapist life. Why I don't have time actually makes sense, but let's normalize this. Therapists are tired. We're tired. And even when we love our work, clinical sessions require presence, regulation, and emotional attunement, and that takes energy. So when therapists say, I don't have time to create continuing education, what they often really mean is, I don't have energy after sessions. I don't have long, uninterrupted blocks. And I don't want another thing pulling at me. And that's not avoidance, that's just reality. And if CE creation gets framed as something you're supposed to squeeze in after everything else, it will always feel overwhelming. At least that's how it feels for me. This is actually a container problem. Here's the shift that changes everything. Most therapists don't have a time problem. They have a container problem. And clinical work already has a container. Scheduled sessions, clear roles, defined expectations, and continuing education creation usually doesn't. So it floats around as a vague someday project, and vague projects drain energy before you even start. And creating continuing education becomes possible when you give it a container, even a very small one. Therapists often try to create continuing education using the same energy they use for sessions, and then they wonder why it feels so hard. Clinical energy is relational. Teaching and creative energy is conceptual. And if you wait until you're emotionally spent, your brain is going to push back. Not because you're incapable, but because you're completely depleted. And for many therapists, continuing education work fits better earlier in the day, on lighter clinical days, in shorter protected windows of time. You don't need to overhaul your schedule. You need to work with your energy, not against it. Another myth that keeps therapists stuck is the idea that you need long, uninterrupted stretches to create continuing education. You really don't, because continuing education can be built in layers. 30 to 60 minutes can be enough to clarify your topic, outline your learning objectives, record some voice notes or type some notes, sketch a basic structure out. And waiting for the perfect block of time usually becomes the reason nothing gets started. Consistency matters more than duration. And here's something that I see all the time. Therapists tend to overestimate how much continuing education creation takes and underestimate how much they already know. If you've answered the same clinical questions repeatedly, taught interns or supervisees, led consultation groups, given informal trainings, recorded podcast episodes, you're not starting from scratch or zero. Continuing education creation is often about organizing what already exists, not inventing something new. A lot of therapists jump straight to, I need a full course. This has to be comprehensive. I need to cover everything. You don't. You really don't. Your first continuing education offering should be narrow, clearly bounded, and easy to explain. One topic, one audience, one outcome. This is where clarity saves time. And that's why I created my free continuing education course builder for mental health clinicians to help you get clear on what you could teach before you spend time creating anything. Not to rush, not to sell, just to bring the idea into focus. And here's something we don't talk enough about. The hardest part of creating continuing education usually isn't time management, it's permission. Permission to treat this as real work, block time for something that isn't client facing, work on the profession, not just in it. And many therapists feel guilty investing energy outside of sessions, even when it supports their longevity. But sustainability isn't selfish. I think it's ethical. And if you want something concrete but not rigid, here's a structure that works for many therapists. One protected hour per week, one idea at a time, one quarter to build, not launch. That's it. No grind, no pressure to monetize immediately, just steady progress. And progress is going to look different for everybody, but it might look like a rough outline, voice notes captured on a walk, more clarity about what not to teach, and growing confidence naming your expertise. None of that is wasted effort because clarity is progress. And if you've been telling yourself you don't have time, I want you to invite yourself and ask these questions. Where could I create a small protected container for this? What part of this feels energizing instead of draining? And what happens if I stop waiting to feel ready? Because creating continuing education doesn't require more hours. It requires intention, permission, and realistic expectations. Teaching doesn't have to overwhelm your life or compete with your clinical work. When done thoughtfully, it can support your sustainability and your relationship to the profession itself. I mean, that's what it's done for me. If this episode stirred something in you, then definitely check out my free continuing education course builder. It's a gentle next step. It helps you think clearly before committing time that you don't think you have. Thanks for being here, you guys. Take good care. Please note that the Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and not a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. Always consult with your therapist, doctor, or physician before implementing any suggestions from the show. The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is edited and engineered by Chelsea Weaver. If you're looking to start a podcast or ready to take the editing off of your plate, be sure to visit chelseaweaverpodcasting.com. Well, that wraps up another episode of The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and I'm thankful you've chosen to listen to mine. Be sure to visit lisamustard.com to access the show notes and discover all the pod courses and other continuing education offerings. And I'd be grateful if you subscribe to the show. Thank you.